Hey guys, and today we have the original Xiaomi R1D wireless AC router, and let me go ahead and first show you the unboxing in the video, and then we're gonna move on to the actual review of the wireless router. I'll be right back with you. And I'm back with the actual unboxing. Don't mind the old router sitting in the back. That's my old Belkin N1 wireless router, wireless N router that I'm replacing. This was my second floor router. Now the Xiaomi is going to be the one. Typical Xiaomi box, very plain with the logo in the corner, but very sturdy. This particular unit is produced in November 8, 2016, so very recently. And let me flip the box around and show you some of the specs in the back. As you can see here, feel free to pause the video and actually read those through, but I want to talk to you about them in a second. This is the international version of that router. In other words, comes in with English firmware right off the box, so you don't have to fiddle around and translate with Google Translator or any other, using other browsers and stuff like that. This one will be in English straight up, so you can see 1 terabyte hard drive internal storage. It has 2 gigabit LAN out and 1 gigabit LAN in. Obviously, it has internal 2x2 dual omnidirectional antennas for the wireless AC. These are the standards that it's supporting as well. You can see, so it's AC 1200, a little bit of an older, quote unquote older standard, because that's plenty fast for pretty much everybody out there. It's not, top of the line like AC 2600 or 3000 or any of those, modern day and super expensive routers. But I think, in my opinion, for everybody and everyday's user, AC 1200 is plenty of speed for the moment, unless you have, fiber optics gigabit LAN that is coming from your provider and you want to utilize all that speed on the wireless. You're gonna be good with this one. So let me go ahead and open the box. Obviously, you're not gonna see the router inside because I just showed it to you already plugged in. I was eager to plug it in and start working with it, so I can talk to you about. So the first thing you're gonna see is kind of 2 booklets. One is the obviously the wireless router user guide and instructions. Very useful, by the way, very well written in English and everything. It explains, even for people that are not very tech savvy, how to set up their router and access it. So feel free to read that through if you want to. This other one is on Chinese. I'm assuming is the same, and it has a VIP card, which I'm just gonna speculate and say you probably can purchase, because there's a value I see. You can purchase some additional apps or other, I don't know what I call it. It's probably other applications or scripts or something that you can install on the router, or creating a Xiaomi account. So I'm not planning to use that. Obviously, I don't read Chinese, so for those of you that do, feel free to do that. There's a rubber band you saw here. This is the rubber band that kind of holds the actual charger, which is 110 to 240 volts and 12 outputs 12 volts out of those 110 or 2012 obviously not 220, and it's rated as 2.5 amps. This is where normally sits, right here in this box, but again, I plugged it in and I'm gonna show you a little bit later. They even provided a Euro to US adapter, which I'm not going to be using, but those of you that are ordering it from China, they are located in Europe, you're going to probably love that addition here in the box. And the router just sits here laying down, nothing underneath, no other cables, not even a LAN cable, which is a little bit disappointing, because I know Xiaomi are offering some high quality, high-end LAN cables that I actually purchased in the past. But regardless, I have plenty. I plugged it in right away. So let me close the box and we'll move on to the actual router and talk to you about everything else. Alright, so there's 2 very easy ways to set up your router right after you plugged it in and connect the cables. First thing, you can use the Mi Router app, which I have been using for a little bit with my other Xiaomi router, of course. And here right off the bat you can see the options. Let me zoom in a little bit. My router, storage, because you have that internal hard drive, the view videos, and then plugins. It will show you what currently has connected to the router, and obviously right here, if I click on the router name, it will show you how it's set up, current time zone, everything else. Let me go back out of this, and you can switch between routers, obviously, if you have a couple using at the same time. So if I go here, it will show me all the files that I have currently on my internal storage, which is empty: videos, photos, music, downloads, documents. You can create additional folders if you want to, view videos if there's any. You can actually do that, and kind of look at them up here. You have the plugins, which is a little bit interesting because here majority of the settings are right off the bat set up for you. You can set up your Wi-Fi. You can name the router, what name it's going to be broadcasting for the 2.4 and 5 gigahertz. Change your passwords, encryption, hide the network, enable, disable, do all that. At the same time, you can see the storage again. You can format or lock the hard drive so it won't be accessible by users in your network. You can see your downloads, schedule a download. I still haven't played around with this feature, but I assume it's pretty helpful. We have update, where you can actually schedule an update. Currently there are no firmwares available. I checked last night. Time zone settings and about. You can reset your admin passwords, reboot, power off the router, and you do factory reset. You can unpair it from your app. Then we have updates. So in updates, we'll show you if there's any updates. Obviously right now there is none. Let me go back. Firewall. Currently this feature is not working because I set up my router as kind of a router like extender. They're calling it a repeater in this app, but whatever. To my main router downstairs, you have a photo backup. You can actually back up all your photos from your cell phone, tablet, whatever mobile device you have. Once that device is connected to the same router, we can make it automatically to update to it, and this way you have one more location to kind of store your media if you don't want to lose it. Obviously you have QoS. You can set up a time to schedule the wireless to be off, not the router but the actual wireless broadcasting. You can schedule power off of the router, reboot timer as well. You can schedule, you can share the router and have a separate admins added to it. Backup to the router is where you can connect USB drive or another hard drive on the back USB 2.0 port, and then continue to back up or expand the storage that way. And then you have storage info, where it's going to show you what you have. Currently you can see that internal hard drive, we have 929 gigabytes available out of 930. Obviously this is after the format, it's not going to be full terabyte. And you can see the photos, music, files, everything is outlined right here. I think it's extremely helpful. It not only works when you're on your home network, but when you're outside of the house, or not on Wi-Fi or whatever. As long as you have internet connection, you can control your router at home, power it off, reboot, do all that stuff I showed you. So that's pretty convenient in my mind. On top of that, you can actually open your browser and do some more changes there, but most of the features are repetitive from here. Again, it's completely in English. There's no problem whatsoever to do any of the changes. So far, I've plugged it in yesterday, and the router has been working about for 24 hours. No problems whatsoever. The speed is great in my mind. The only negative maybe people can think about is the only two exits or only outputs of the LAN. But again, for my particular needs, I have a gigabit switch, 8-port gigabit switch that is connected to it. So one port is going to the switch, and from there to all my computers in my office and everything else. So for me, that's not a big issue. Another thing to mention is the router is actually very high quality made. Let me give you another real close up to it, and I'll continue to talk to you. Back on next to the router where it's plugged in, as you can see, very compact. I was expecting actually to be bigger, but it's pretty compact. And when you see these grooves around here on both sides, there's actually perforations all the way through where the heat can dissipate from the internals. And the router itself has an active cooling, so I can definitely hear a fan running underneath somewhere to blow that hot air out. Very slight noise. You really have to go really close by it, put your ear next to it to kind of hear the noise. So it's not going to bother you if you're putting it in a very you know, sound in a very sound isolated room, but it's worth noticing, you know, in case you have very high sensitive hearing and you're bothered by it. But in my mind, it's not a problem at all. Also, the router has NFC capability, so the chip is right on top. If you wanna, you know, have a friend over or a relative and you want them to connect to the router on their cell phone, they can, and obviously if the cell phone has an NFC chip, they can touch the top of it, get connected right away. Another thing worth mentioning, the hardware inside is pretty good. Dual core, 1 gigahertz Broadcom processor. That same chip has been used by a lot of brands, a lot of more expensive models. For example, the TP-Link AC 1900 Archer C9 is using the same one, but it's more expensive, but at the same time doesn't have 1 terabyte internal storage. So very good internals. The memory is 256 megabytes, DDR3 Samsung memory. So again, very well respected internals in my mind. Would I recommend this? Absolutely. Currently, even GearBest have that model in their US location, which if you order it, it's less than $100. I think right now around about $96, $97. If you order it from the US location, obviously it will arrive super fast, probably within a week. I ordered this one from the Hong Kong location over, you know, the Christmas time, so it took them a very long time to ship over here. Probably was maybe 3 weeks. But currently they have it on the US location as well, and it's cheaper. So it'll be a lot faster for you guys. You know, for me, I pay a lot less because I had a lot of points through GearBest. So I ended up paying around $70. So I mean, think about it. A 1 terabyte drive inside, just the terabyte drive is half of that price probably. In the future, I'm gonna attempt to actually upgrade that drive, which you know, it's not recommended by Xiaomi, which is stated on the instructions, but I'm planning to do it and put a 2 terabyte and see how that's gonna work out. But this is it for now, guys. I think it's another great router by Xiaomi, another piece of hardware that it's well made. I'm gonna continue to test it and update you. Ask me questions if you have any. That's it for now. Thank you. Have a wonderful day.